Hi, I'm Dustin Pari from television's Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. And I'll be talking with a good friend of mine who spent some time on the road with me, Miss Brandy Green.
Hey everyone, this is Brandy, and yes, Dustin and I were on Ghost Hunters International together. We traveled the world together when we were younger, when we were much younger.
It does feel like it was like a lifetime ago, but how many years ago was it? Like when did we part ways? I know you did a couple episodes after I had left, but like how many years was
Right.
that?
Yeah, well, we met in 2008, and I was
Okay.
like 22 or 23. And I think we parted ways, what, in like 2009, I think. But between like that year, we had
Yeah.
gone to what, like 30 countries together?
Yeah, for sure. I think my final count was I think 27 or 28
Yeah.
that I was on the road with you guys for, and I remember going to pick you up at the airport and meeting you for the first time. Like, here's your new castmate. I'm like, okay. Like, found out like a couple of days before we're picking somebody up.
Oh, yeah, no, it happened so fast. It was insane. I remember I was working a boring desk cubicle job with no windows, fluorescent lighting, super depressing. And Barry, actually, he had texted me. I was busy at work and he texted me and I'm like, I can't do this now. I'm working. And he had said that you guys were looking for a new cast member, that you had lost like three all kind of the same time.
Yeah. So kind of
And
the curse of GHI. We just kept losing people.
the
I think,
revolving door.
yeah, it was the most
um,
haunted part about the whole show. It's like people just disappear.
it's so true.
But you
Um,
signed up anyway.
yeah, I did. And so it took like 3 days and I found out suddenly I had to quit my job. I had to get packed and leave the country. I didn't even have a passport at the time. So that had to be expedited. And the next thing I knew, I was in Manchester, England, meeting all of you guys and stuck at customs.
That's what was that like for you though? Like the whole process of coming to be a part of the show and be like, okay, I'm going to quit my job, take a risk, and just go off and do this.
Well, it was the chance of a lifetime. I mean, I was, like I said, I was 22, 23. Part of me was like, no, I have this job. It's depressing, but I have a 401k and I have adult grown up things finally. And, but obviously, I mean, how can you say no to free travel? You get
Right.
to look for ghosts. I mean, come on.
What about now though? Like, what if this happened now?
Oh,
Would
I'd still do it.
you still would do it?
Oh, heck yeah. I
Yeah.
would still do it.
Great. I
What
just
about
remember.
you? Are you
Um,
more homebound?
I don't know anymore. Like, I'm just still trying to figure out everything. Like, it's I was very thankful for the opportunity, and I loved doing what we did. And then when I left GHI, I went back to GH for a little while, and then took some time off, and then finished like their last two seasons for them. So I don't know. It's I'd really have to weigh it out, just because of family and everything
I
now.
feel like I feel like, and maybe you feel the same way. Like if I could go back and do it all over again as the person I am now and
Yeah,
knowing what I know now, I think I would have probably enjoyed it more. I would have allowed myself to like take it all in and enjoy it
yeah.
more. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was quite the
Well,
experience.
we only got really one day off a week. A lot
Oh,
of people I think watched the show and thought, oh, they're in France for like forever. It's like, yeah, you work, 6 days, and you get one day to yourself.
yeah, you remember we saw Paris in 4 hours. It was
That's
like, oh, look, the Louvre. Oh, look, the Arctic Triomphe. Like, it literally was at
yeah,
night, and we were running through the city trying to
yeah,
see everything.
yeah. It was really difficult. I remember one of my favorite things, actually, I know we'll talk about when we get there, but one of my favorite things was going through Paris at night and finding that little carousel that was off to the side of the Eiffel Tower. I thought it was like the coolest thing. But yeah, it was a very breakneck pace for sure, like the whole thing, you know.
It truly was. And I mean, you know, I had gotten food poisoning a couple of times. I was hospitalized once, and it was like, you get the call from LA. Well, they don't ask, is she okay? Will she be
Yeah,
okay? It's, can she still film?
right. Can you wheel her in front of a camera? Just hide the IV bag. She's fine.
Yeah, so true. I still
Yep.
had like the Band-Aid over my arm from like the intravenous
Yeah.
filming.
Unbelievable.
It was
Unbelievable.
terrible, but fun.
These are the real stories of GHI that you're not going to get anywhere else. So
Very true.
it's good stuff. What are we starting with? What's going to be our first one here?
So we are going to discuss the first case that I came to GHI with, Samlesbury Hall.
Malmesbury Hall. I just like the
Yes.
name of it. It's like Salisbury steak, but not.
Or as you referred to it as the Gothic gingerbread house.
That's right. This place looked amazing, like from
It,
the
it,
outside. The
it
black and
truly
white
did. It was
interior.
super cool.
Yeah, it looked really like this was going to be an amazing place, you know, which I think something to keep in mind, you know, in hindsight, all these things were very impressive in their own right. You know, may not always have had the best paranormal activity, but still to be able to crawl around some of these, you know, these castles and chateaus and villas is like, you know, a place like Samlesbury Hall. Like I've never seen another building like that, and probably never will in my life.
Well, speaking of crawling around, that's something that Andy Andrews was super good at.
Yes, that was
And
kind
then
of debunking and getting into small little places and crevices. So what do we have there?
at at this location, so at Samlesbury Hall, people that have watched it, and those that didn't watch it when it first aired, it's available for free on Peacock TV now, so you can watch any episode or binge it or whatever you want to do. But um, at this location, there was like a small like alcove attic space that they called the priest hole.
Why do they call it that? I don't recall.
I guess from if memory serves, it was because the priest that had come there, he was hiding out from religious persecution, and it was like kind of like this hole, and so it was literally a priest's hole, which sounds terrible.
Totally. But
And
that's
of
where you
course,
wanted to go.
Andy Andrews spent a lot of time up there crawling around. Um, yeah, so the priest hole.
Yeah. I don't remember a lot of activity there. I remember the tour guide was very excited about how haunted the place was, as many of our tour guides were. Every
Yes,
place we went. Who was our friend
Simon.
again?
Simon was the tour guide, and he was very enthusiastic. The moment before we started filming, we were like loading in gear, and he was like, he would come around to everyone, cast, crew, it didn't matter. Where are you from? And you tell him, oh, that's the most haunted place in all of wherever.
So
I think
good.
he was a little deflated though when we came back and told him we
That's
debunked
some,
pretty much everything and it wasn't haunted.
yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's always tough to have to do that, like the exchange with the client and try to tell them, like, listen, this is what we found, this is what we didn't find. But I think what was always nice about GHI across the board was that all of us were kind of like, you know, of a pretty skeptical mindset, open to the idea of things, you know, being haunted, hoping to get some things we couldn't explain. But you know, and my disclaimer personally was always, listen, you know, the 2 or 3 nights we investigated here, because normally we did it 2 or 3 nights, so the
Hmm.
place was super small. You know, we maybe did not find anything during those nights. You know, you lived here 30 years, maybe you know more than we know, you experience more, you get a bigger, you know, sample. But when we
Right.
can explain away the stuff, that's when it would always get kind of dicey, especially
I
when it's the most haunted place.
Well, and I remember too, this location, they had claims of like human remains, like bones found on the property, and that there at one point was like a police cruiser that had gotten into an accident because they hit a ghost or whatever. And so I don't remember if it was you or Andy, one of you guys like looked it up and like contacted the local PD, and they're
Right.
like, no, like
Yeah.
none of that ever happened.
I think I was doing the history for the team at the time. So yeah, I do remember that the story was pretty much debunked quickly. You
Yes.
know, when the police say no, that never happened, and you're like, oh, okay, well, you would know.
Right.
So
So
yeah,
good old Samlesbury Hall. So if
yeah,
you haven't seen the episode yet, I encourage you to go on to Peacock TV and check it out. We're going to be doing a series of these, and just kind of a walk down memory lane per se. Though our memories are kind of getting um,
right.
spotty at best.
Yeah, it's a good time to do this because they might not be in there for much longer. All right, thanks for watching, everybody.